Hello, and we are live. How are you guys doing out there tonight? I'm doing very well. Thank you very much. Um, it's your old buddy Pizzal, and wanted to do another live stream talking about just some movie related issues because the last live stream that I did with my friend Cameron there and my buddy Andrew, who's not going to be able to join us tonight, was a lot of fun, and everybody seemed to enjoy that. So I decided, why not do some more of those because they're a lot of fun, and you guys out there seem to dig it. So yeah, why not? So joined with my buddy Cameron from the Obnoxious and Anonymous YouTube channel. How you doing, buddy?
Doing great. Thanks for having me back. Last podcast we did, our vlogcast, whatever you want to call it, last week about Halloween was awesome. I thought we just covered so that one topic. We don't even know that much about what they're going to do, but we covered a lot of stuff, and quite a good conversation going on in the comments.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it was really fun hanging out, and we just kind of discussed. I think what like you said, I mean, we had a really cool discussion, not just amongst ourselves, but with the people who were watching, and they had a lot of interesting ideas for the next Halloween movie. So, and actually, I mean, one of the things we're going to talk about tonight, as a matter of fact, is Friday the 13th, 2017, and we kind of don't know a whole lot about that one other than its origin-ish, but we'll definitely talk about that.
Hopefully,
well.
it's better. Hopefully, it's better than Leprechaun Origins.
I'm not sure you can be worse than that. You would have to really, really go out of your way to be worse. But stranger things have happened.
If anyone can do it, Platinum Dunes can.
Exactly. Don't doubt Platinum Dunes. They can.
No.
Yeah. But so yeah, we're going to talk about just a plethora of stuff tonight. A lot of news going on in the movie world. Of course, Friday the 13th, 2017, Rogue One reshoots that have got a lot of people really worried about that movie. This whole X-Men Apocalypse billboard controversy that's just and we'll get to that. And I kind of wanted to talk a little bit about Mike Gingold leaving Fangoria, because everybody's kind of been anticipating that magazine's doom for a long time. And I think Mike Gingold leaving, that's like, I mean, I don't know how to make that into an analogy. I mean, Mike Gingold is Fangoria. He has been the face of Fangoria since like the 80s or something like that. So, and not, he didn't leave of his own volition. He was fired. So, I mean, that to me is like, the you know what I mean? That's got to be, if not the death. Let's go ahead and dive in. Let's talk about your Fangoria magazine, Cameron.
I'm sorry. Can you say that again? You're kind of jumping and skipping around.
Were you a big reader of Fangoria magazine?
Oh yeah, definitely. I hello. Yeah, no. I obviously got the magazine a lot while I was growing up. Went to a lot of their conventions down in LA when they were partnered up with Creation Entertainment. And it was so great about Fangoria was just the kind of the family atmosphere. I mean, for so long, Tony Tampone was in charge of it, and then Rebecca, I think her name is McHenry. She was part of it too, and she's now jumped over to Bloomhouse with her Killer POV podcast people. I feel like Fangoria, you're talking about people saying they're predicting its doom. I would say that goes back, how long would it be? 2012 when Django Unchained came out, when Leanne Spider Baby was working for Fangoria, and she was being kind of touted as like the next big horror writer because she was writing books. She was writing for Fangoria as well, but she came up to prominence because she was dating Quentin Tarantino. And so a lot of people, editors at magazines, were giving her shots because they thought that she could bring Quentin Tarantino into their magazine for an exclusive interview. And then once it was revealed that she was a plagiarist and blogs, it started, a lot of attention started coming down on Fangoria as well, because they were kind of sticking up for her, as well as other websites were. And that's when I started seeing a shift, when certain people who would work for the magazine started jumping to other platforms. And it doesn't do the conventions anymore. It's just like slowly it's just becomes an online website, as opposed to like the magazine. It's hard to look at something I loved as a kid kind of dissolving, but as our friends Creepy Kentuckian and Uncle Bill say, because there's not much mainstream horror in there, what's happening is these horror sites, especially Fangoria, have to do kind of these puff celebratory retrospective pieces because there's not a lot to tout coming out today. So it's just been slowly kind of dying.
Yeah. I mean, I totally feel the same way, and I apologize if I was cutting out to anybody there, cutting in and out as far as being able to hear me or what have you. But what I was trying to say, I'm not sure how much went out there, was Mike Gingold has been fired from Fangoria, and he was pretty much the face of Fangoria since the 80s. And that's really, the people who've been sort of thinking that the doom of Fangoria is right around the corner. This to me is like, it's definitely happening.
Do we know what happened?
Well, from what I read, and this comes from Mike Gingold himself, that the only conversations that he had had with the owners of Fangoria, or his bosses, he had been recently promoted to editor-in-chief. And everybody was really, I remember Twitter kind of blew up that day in the horror community, everybody saying, it's about time. And, the magazine's really they really thought that this was going to return the magazine to its prominence with him as the editor-in-chief. And then he's been fired. And from the only thing he's really had to say about it was the discussions that he had with his bosses were financially, were related to finance. And he's gone. And they've actually not released a print version of Fangoria since like December of last year. They've all been online editions. And I tried to find, and this is really a problem, I think, that's just, it's all print media. All print media is just way down. It's kind of a dying form. Mm-hmm. And I tried to look to see what the circulation was for Fangoria now versus 10 years ago or whatever, because I saw an article not long ago about Playboy magazine. And Playboy magazine no longer has nude pictorials. Right. Believe it or not, Playboy magazine no longer has nude pictorials. It's basically Maxim now. And they had shown this, the figures were, the circulation for Playboy magazine in like just 10 years ago were in the millions. Today, it was not even a million. Not even a million subscribers for Playboy magazine. And I was trying to find those figures for...
Why when they're no longer doing what separated them from other magazines?
Right.
Right.
And I was trying to find that, those circulation stats for Fangoria too. I couldn't find them. But what I found was that they were having major problems with advertising revenue. Their advertising revenue was way down because they couldn't, people people don't advertise in magazines anymore, apparently. And
Well, let me throw this out there. Once I was doing a sort of a casting call or an advertisement for a film that I was working on, and I contacted Fangoria about doing some advertising for it, taking out an ad, and they were talking about an ad that's like this. I mean, I don't know if you can really do this, but like this big, that's so small, right? They were talking about that was going to be about $1,000.
mm,
And, I talked with some friends of mine who were going to help out in the film, and they said, we couldn't even get 3 words in that space. I mean, and or if we did, it would be so small, we would just be, be throwing our money away. So advertise online than it is in a magazine. Cause I mean, if that's the prices you have to charge, it's like you must really be hurting if you have to charge that much for a space that small.
so that was one of the major issues, was that just ad revenue is not where it used to be. And actually their physical distributor of the magazine went out of business on. That's part of the reason why they've not had a physical issue since like last year in December, because their distributor went bankrupt.
Did you ever get the
What was it? I'm sorry, you cut out.
Oh yeah. Did you ever get the magazine to come to your house?
I was never a subscriber. I was always a newsstand reader.
I totally understand. Well, they treated it like it was pornography. You would get it in a black wrapper, and you obviously knew it was Fangoria, like or something where they just stick the magazine in your mailbox. It always came in a black wrapper, and it wasn't like to protect like a poster or something like that. It was just for whatever reason, maybe they were afraid kids were going to see it and freak out. They would just always cover it in the black paper, and so it was kind of interesting.
Yeah, like one of my fondest memories of childhood is I don't remember this store. I don't remember what they sold there. All I remember is the magazine rack, which was directly to the right when you walked in the door, because that's exactly what I would do. I'd walk in the door, turn right, and that's it. The rest of the store was completely, I couldn't care less. It was the magazine stand, because that's where Fangoria was. Mm-hmm. And while my mother was in the store shopping or doing whatever she was doing, I'd be standing there flipping through Fangoria. And, that's one of my fondest memories of childhood, is that little store. I have no idea what kind of store it was, just it had a newsstand, and one of the magazines that they had was Fangoria. Right. And I would sit there, and of course, Mom wouldn't buy me the magazine. But, I could stand there and flip through it and look at it while she was doing her thing. So I've always loved that magazine. But, I mean, you made a point, and it's a point that was, you echo the point made by CK and Uncle Bill, which is, horror is, horror was in a difficult place, or horror has been kind of in a difficult place. So Fangoria had to kind of, I can't help but think of the issue with the Fog remake on the cover, or with, what I mean? Like, I know what you did last summer.
You mean the John Carpenter produced Fog?
Yes, exactly. So I think, quality is certainly an issue as to why they've kind of waned. And maybe the horror genre not being as good as what it was in the 80s has helped that. And also the bigger issue, like I said, of print media just not being sort of a dying form, really.
Why wait a month for exclusive magazine anymore when you can update a website for free and several times a day?
Exactly. Yeah. It's so much easier to do that on a website, because I mean, basically you're typing or you're putting a picture in, you're clicking save and upload. And easier to maintain. You don't have to print anything. It's accessible that instant. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
yeah, and we've seen
Thing. It's a,
such a. Go ahead.
no, I was gonna say it's a sad thing. I mean, obviously, Fangoria is not gone. I mean, just Michael is no longer with it. But it will be a sad day when Fangoria is totally gone. You know, there's just a lot of great memories from growing up, reading about upcoming movies. Hell, I mean, I made a horror film back, I don't know, 10 years ago, and Fangoria was the first website to talk about it. And I remember just like, that was the proudest day I've ever had as an independent filmmaker, was from Friday to Sunday, 1 weekend in October 2000, web for 2 solid days. And I just was like, that I could just die a happy person at this moment. You know, Michael has been wonderful for the magazine. I don't know what happened that would make him get fired. I mean, I could see him maybe quitting, but fired. He's been with it, like you said, for 30 something years. So I don't know. It's a dark time. That's what I have to say about that.
Yeah, yeah, and like you said, Fangoria will be around. I mean, they'll have a web presence, but it's kind of sad that that physical magazine won't be there. On the newsstand, staring back at me, like it was. So much enjoyment to look at things we've seen as a kid, because that page was to me, man. It was everything that I wanted to see. So. Yeah.
Well, now that there's a definite end date to when they last did a printed magazine, that means that there's now a definite number of how many magazines or issues they've put out. So obviously, if you have old issues of Fangoria and you don't want them, now's the time to start selling them on eBay.
Yeah. There you go. Yeah. Well, and there's a way for Fango to make some money too. I'm sure they've got a bunch of back issues laying around. Throw those puppies on eBay.
Oh yeah. I don't know if you've ever been to a Fangoria convention. I know you go to a lot of the other ones out there, but there would always like, please just take them.
Yeah, they would just be giving out the issues.
Yeah, sometimes they did come in your welcoming bag when you walked in the door. So.
Oh, really? Cool. But no, I've never been to a Fangoria convention, which I would definitely like to go, but
I don't think they do them anymore. So
there you go.
Yeah.
Well, let's springboard off of Fangoria into Friday the 13th, 2017. Right on the heels of the news of Halloween 2017 being executive produced and by John Carpenter, who's also acting as the creative consultant, Friday the 13th, 2017 got some interesting news as well. Brad Fuller, one of the producers of the film, was doing promotion for it, and the topic of Friday the 13th, 2017 came up. I don't have the actual quote in front of me, but he said, paraphrasing, it's origin-ish. Pamela Voorhees is going to be there. He said basically the script goes back in time. So it sounds like an origin story to how is going to be origin versus present Jason as we know him, hockey mask Jason as we know him, versus his upbringing with Pamela. Maybe Mr. Voorhees is in there. So I don't know. It actually sounds a lot like the upcoming Texas Chainsaw Massacre movie called Leatherface, which is about a young Leatherface in. But what do you think about a Friday the 13th origin story? I have a video talking about this, and the response was pretty negative. The response was, we don't need to see an origin story. Didn't they learn anything from Rob Zombie's Halloween? Or I don't care about Jason Voorhees's origin. What thing?
It's weird because in the Friday the 13th 2009 reboot, if you see the killer cut, the 10-minute longer version, there's actually quite a few flashbacks. Like there's a part with Jason like forging a machete in one of the sheds, and he's having flashbacks with his mom and stuff like that. But you say Texas Chainsaw Massacre, I hear flash. They're going to turn this into Friday the 13th version of Bates Motel. You know, and that's what concerns me, because isn't there supposed to be a Friday the 13th TV series being made too?
Well, that's dead. The Friday the 13th TV series on the CW is dead.
Okay, I did not know that. So thank you for making at least that dream come true. But yeah, I don't know. And again, since Platinum Dunes is involved, it's bizarre that they would try to reboot this again, because I would think same production company should mean sequel, So I don't know. I mean, is Derek Mears still going to play Jason, or are they going to find another person? I mean,
everything's really up in the air, other than it's an origin-ish story. But you make a very good point. You make a very good point there about Bates Motel.
Yeah.
Bates Motel is very popular. It's kind of an origin story. It's a mother and son story. I could definitely see them exploring that.
I think we talked about a little bit about this too on the Halloween podcast, but I really do think Paramount shit the bed with this, because once they got the rights back, they should have just been churning these out. I mean, we could have been on a new Friday the 13th Part 5 by now if they made these movies like when they got the rights back. And they've just been sitting on them, and they haven't done anything with the South. So to me, I mean, if I had been in charge of Paramount and I got the rights back, and I, traded Christopher Nolan to get the rights back, to get, Friday the 13th. The first thing I would have done, I would have been like, okay, we're going to take $2 million and we're going to just churn. We're going to take $10 million and make 5 of them. Boom, 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 boom. And they each would have made 30, 40 million. Not to mention the Blu-ray sales and the streaming services and all that stuff. So I think Paramount really shit the bed. They could have been sitting on a major gold mine. But, they were embarrassed about the series back in the 80s. They've been embarrassed about the series on all of their DVD and Blu-ray releases. Crystal Lake Memories, the great documentary, that was made independently. So Paramount continues to be afraid of this series, even though it is probably their most profitable movie series, at least if dollar spent versus dollar earned. So
yeah I totally agree, and I've said that too. They had such an opportunity to, they've got this, they had such an opportunity, and New Line Cinema had such an opportunity as well. I mean, Freddy versus Jason, the success of that movie, the overwhelming, huge blockbuster success of that movie,
right,
gave New Line Cinema the opportunity to make more Friday the 13th movies, more Nightmare on Elm Street movies, and more Freddy versus Jason movies. And they did nothing. They did remakes. And
yeah, I remember when Freddy versus Jason was in the theater, the trailer before the first 2003's remake of Texas Chainsaw Massacre. And I remember just the feeling in the air was like money, and that was it. That just changed horror films for the next decade or more. So it's kind of ironic that Platinum Dunes is the one that kicked it all off, and they're also the ones that kind of closed it out too with their Nightmare on Elm Street and their Friday the 13th reboots. Like I've said before, the 2009 Friday the 13th film is a film that I don't think is a bad movie. It's okay. It looks beautiful. My only issue with it is there's not a lot of fun in it. So a lesser movie, let's just take like Jason Takes Manhattan. I know there's fans, but to me, it's kind of a lesser Jason movie because of all the cut-arounds they had to do. But I've still seen that than the 2009 Friday the 13th film, better made film. And what does that tell you? You know, it's like, it's not a film you want to go back and repeat and watch. But it's not a movie that people hate either. It just is kind of there. At least with Nightmare on Elm Street, the remake, you can get with that. The Rob Zombie film, you can get physically angry with that. The Friday the 13th film, it's just there. You know, it's now in the $5 bin at Walmart, and there it is.
Yeah. I absolutely agree with every.
Yeah, this origin thing. Is there any? Because Jason didn't become Jason, if you want to think about it, till after he drowned. So what is the horror? What is the dramatics of it? You know, I mean, they wouldn't even let. Oh my God, what was his name? The guy who directed Jason Lives, Tom McLaughlin, right? They wouldn't even let. Yeah, they wouldn't even let him put Jason's dad in the final scene. So, you know, and that's in the novella if you ever get a hold of that. But it's think about it, because to me it just feels like, let's spin around in a circle and just figure out something to do, because we're going to lose the rights soon. And unfortunately, you know, origin story versus found footage film versus, you know, it's like they don't even know what to do, and it's a shame, because they could give the rights, and like I said, they'd be you'd be on a part 5 by now, and every horror fan would be happy, because nobody wants sophistication. We just want Camp Crystal Lake and Jason back, and let's rock.
Yeah. I mean, I agree with every point that you made. It's, you know, can they make a good origin story? I mean, yeah, you know, the writer's definitely a talented guy, but will anybody want to see a Friday the 13th origin story? And will it have that fun factor that even some of the lesser original Paramount 8 Friday the 13th movies had, that make them so special, that make us want to rewatch them? You know,
Jason Goes to Hell is more fun than the 2009 reboot.
I absolutely agree. Yeah, I mean, I absolutely agree. It totally is. So, I mean, I don't know. The thing that scares me is this. The guy who wrote the original script for the Nightmare on Elm Street remake is the same guy who wrote the Cape Fear remake for Martin Scorsese.
Yeah.
And
he also wrote Batman Returns.
Yes. And we see how the Nightmare on Elm Street remake turned out after it was rewritten, and I'm sure probably rewritten several other times by other writers who didn't take credit,
and directed by somebody who did not, he in his own words says, I don't even care about Nightmare on Elm Street. This is just to get my foot in the door. Well, he got his foot in the door to nothing, because that movie reeked of somebody who did not want to make a Nightmare on Elm Street movie.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I've always maintained the best movie version of a Nightmare on Elm Street we've gotten in the last decade is I mean, can you just imagine? That movie would have been even better if Freddy Krueger had been in it. The idea of the van turning over and over and going within seconds, and dreams within dreams. I mean, the writer of Jason X, Todd Farmer, the guy who did My Bloody Valentine, he told me, he's like, the thing about the Nightmare on Elm Street remake that just angered him was, you know, we had awesome thaps introduced into it, and then they did nothing with it. You know, Freddy being wrongly accused by the kids. Okay, that's great, because then you could kind of flip it on its head and say, kids, because they wrongly accused him. No, we still have to make him a child murderer. Okay, so what was the point of introducing this other version of it if they're just going to negate it? To me, the movie couldn't decide what it wanted to be, and all the movie did basically was make me lose $12 going to see it. So, and my time.
Yeah, well, you know, and the reason I brought up the original screenplay for the Nightmare on Elm Street remake, I read it, or I read what was supposed to be that script, and it was much, much better than the end result, because there was so much emphasis put on the angle of did Freddy really do it, or did we all just make it up? And you didn't know that for the vast majority of the film. So you didn't know that the writer did an excellent job of, putting that doubt in the viewer's mind, and putting a spin on a familiar story, which I totally commend him for. And it was really interesting. It was really interesting script to read. Now, in the final version of the movie, they have that moment where they go, well, did he really do this, or did we make it up? And it lasts for about 5 minutes, and then they go, no, he really did this, and they move on.
Yeah.
So one of the biggest things about that original screenplay, one of the most interesting aspects of it, they breeze through in less than 5 minutes, and the rest of it is, micro naps and, just uninteresting, unfun stuff.
That shot in the trailer where there's the fire coming in and Freddy rips off his jacket to reveal the red and green sweater in slow motion. I know they were thinking, wow, that's a money shot. To me, I was like, oh God. I mean, to me, if you want to see the Freddy origin story, as cheaply as it was done, go get that first episode, Freddy's Nightmares, directed by Tobe Hooper. There you go. There's,
Yeah, I agree. I had more fun watching that pilot episode than I did watching the movie.
Yeah, and that's cheaply made.
Yeah, they had maybe one day's, food bill that they had, to do that pilot for, the budget of the remake.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think it's weird that they're going origin. It makes me think they're overthinking it, which is what they've just done with this new Friday the 13th movie from day one. We've got to have a gimmick. It's got to be 3D, or it's got to be found footage, or, now they're going in the origin route. And yes, there's a really talented writer writing it, but we've had really talented writers work with Platinum Dunes in the past on these kind of movies, and we see the end result. So,
thank God they haven't.
I just know.
I was just gonna say, thank God they haven't made The Birds yet. Remember, they've been trying to make The Birds for 10 years. They even hinted at it in their remake of The Hitcher, and thank God yet.
Yeah. But yeah, like I was saying earlier, I mean, the response to the video that I made talking about it was pretty, negative. It seems like people don't want an origin story. They're not interested in an origin story, even
there's
if it's
no
done
story
really
there.
well.
But there's no story. There's no story there. Everything happened that's supposed to be compelling drama happened after Jason died. So unless they're gonna do like a Godfather 2 thing where they're gonna show Jason in present day and then cut back to flashbacks with him and his worth, maybe that's the only way it could work. But Jason is not known to be such an introspective dude. So.
Yeah, and exactly. I mean, Jason was a deformed child that people made fun of, and he drowned, and he came back. And I mean, that's the backstory. I'm not sure what they can really do with that that's going to be interesting for a horror fan or for a Friday the 13th fan, unless
and you're saying
a total.
I was going to say, and you said you're fans of the people who watched your video were not into this. Well, that's who's going to go see it or not go see it. And,
exactly.
because Paramount or whoever's releasing it, you have to understand that nobody is going to go see this movie that's not a horror Friday the 13th Jason fan. Okay, this isn't a film like The Conjuring that's going to bring in horror audiences and non-horror audiences. You already know how much you're going to make on the Jason movie. Then it's going to be at least a $65-70 million budget, which is absurd for a film like this. That means it has to make almost $200 million to break even if you include marketing. It's absurd. They should be. Blumhouse should have gotten a hold of Friday the 13th, not Halloween. That's who needs to be turning these things out. The other thing I want to just bring up is we need horror filmmakers to create new series or new franchises, right? Because, look, I love Friday the 13th, but if I'm going to get bad Friday the 13th origin films type of thing, I'd rather just put the series to bed, let it sit for 30 years, and have another series going on. I don't want to see something I love and grew up watching just be watered down to a pathetic, whatever they're deciding. This sounds horrible, and it makes me sad, and makes me sad not only the fact that they're beating these dead horses down, they're kind of like pissing on the horror genre, and they think they're celebrating it. All they're doing is driving more nails into it and making horror fans like us, in your words, appear like cynical old men. And we don't want to be that, but that's how we come across because they keep fucking with us.
Right. Yeah. Well, and that was actually something I said in my Halloween 2017 video, was I'd be far more excited if it was John Carpenter working on a brand new original project than, doing something with Halloween. I would much rather, as much as I love Halloween, and I don't remember if I said this in the Halloween video or the Friday the 13th video, but I mean, it basically just echoed what you said. They just don't make them like that anymore. It's like they don't know, we can get a well-made Friday the 13th movie, but it just won't have that fun factor or that rewatchability.
How many times have you seen that 2009 film?
Once in its entirety and bits and pieces on TV.
Likes. Hello?
You broke up.
Oh,
you broke
how
up.
How many times have you seen Jason X?
I want to say at least a couple of times in its entirety and bits and pieces on TV.
There you go. So you've seen that more, and Jason X is pretty out there. So.
Well, I mean, I've seen, a lot of people don't like Friday 7. A lot of people don't like Friday 8, or they would at least say those are lesser ones of the Paramount 8. I've seen them, and I could stop and watch one of those right now. Even Jason Goes to Hell, which most people absolutely abhor. It still has that fun factor, at least for me. I can still just kind of watch it whenever. The Friday the 13th remake, no. Even the Texas Chainsaw Massacre remake, which I actually thought was not bad at all. Mm-hmm. I can, watching that movie once or maybe twice, and I don't think I ever need to watch it again, And I think it's actually a pretty well-made, well-done film, but it's just not the kind of movie you want to watch.
And just throw some, let me just throw some out there about the chainsaw thing real quick. That first hour, I think, is a pretty solid, good first hour. And then the last half hour is just Jessica Biel just running around being chased by Leatherface, which sounds good until you go back to the Tobe Hooper film and you realize, wow, that dinner scene, as much as it's crazy to watch and even crazier it was to film, it's so important to have that moment in the third act, because without it, all it is Leatherface chasing Marilyn Burns around. And that's great stuff. But the fact that the movie stops and gives you a 10-minute dinner scene, that's what ups the movie to even more greatness. And the fact that they tried to get away from that kind of thing in the remake, unfortunately, kind of show movie ultimately was. So the first hour makes you feel like, wow, this is actually going to be about something, and then it's much ado about nothing. And then you got the beginning, which is even worse. So
Texas Chainsaw Massacre at the beginning is not very good at all. So
posing as a
yeah. Well, do you want to move on and discuss
whatever you want,
the Rogue One reshoots, at least briefly, because it seems like Rogue One had a lot of
but I just want to so is being a pain in the ass, so thank you for watching and keeping up with us.
Yeah. I'm not sure if it's my connection or if it's Google Plus or what the deal is, but yeah, I
Might be a
think
storm
we're
or something.
yeah, I think we're kind of cutting in and out and maybe being a little. I'm not sure. We're doing the best we can here with what
Yeah,
we have,
yeah.
and unfortunately, all we have is Google Plus and
Hey, it's free. It's
Google.
free entertainment. What do you expect?
Exactly. Well, let's talk a little bit about the Rogue One reshoots because Rogue One, Rogue One for me was I was really looking forward to it because I felt like it was an unencumbered Star Wars movie. It was a movie that didn't have to fall into the episode category. It had entire it was canon. It was a Star Wars movie, but it could have its own personality. It could have its own characters. It could do its own thing and not be encumbered with the episode number. And I think a lot of people were on the same page with that, that it was a Star Wars story. And then it came out recently that there was a screening of Rogue One that did not go over very well. And they ordered reshoots and pretty massive reshoots.
40%.
Would you say 40%?
Yeah.
See, I heard they'd ordered 4 weeks of reshoots, basically an entire month of reshooting that movie.
Yeah.
From what I'd heard, a lot of it was tonal. A lot of it was that the movie's very dark. Apparently, the sequences that involve Darth Vader were quote unquote brutal. Mm-hmm. And that was all I heard, that it was a lot of tonal stuff, it being too dark. I'm not sure what else is being reshot, but there was a big sort of I don't know how many filmmakers and actors and so on and so forth, like on Twitter, coming out saying every movie gets reshot, every movie goes through reshoots, it's a good thing, your favorite movies have all gone through reshoots, it's not a big deal. Mm-hmm. The difference is and reshoots are good. Reshoots can be a good thing. A reshoot, basically they've watched the director's cut of the movie. They've watched a finished version of the movie that's been mixed and there's music and there's effects. It's kind of like a beta if you're a gamer. It's kind of like a beta. They watch it and they go, well, this could be improved, or, there needs to be a bridge between the second or third act, or, let's do a week or two of reshoots. Mm-hmm. But when they do a month of reshoots, or they're reshooting 40% of the movie, keep in mind they're doing a very similar thing to Suicide Squad.
Right.
That definitely raises red flags because they're reshooting a good chunk of the movie. And I'm going to throw another movie out there that you guys out there are probably familiar with that went through probably an enormous amount of reshoots. It's from the late director Wes Craven. It's called Cursed. If you remember that movie, you probably just got to chill up your spine. That was a movie that was plagued with just tons of reshoots, and it's a god-awful mess. Now, I'm not saying that Suicide Squad or Rogue One is going to have that kind of issue, but when the more reshoots you ask for, clearly the bigger the issue is. What do you think of the Rogue One reshoots?
Well, I think it looked really good. I think that everybody's been on board with this precisely because this is how Disney pitched it. They pitched it as Black Hawk Down and Saving Private Ryan with the Death Star. So that's not just fans wanting a film to be something that's not. That's the way Disney's been talking about this film from the very beginning. I think what it is, it may be a little bit of tone, but Disney never would have allowed this film to go forward without being 100% behind on that script. But I have heard that there has been script change along the way, and I think it may have to do with the fact that The Force Awakens made $2 billion. And they know that in order to get to $2 billion, they have to hit all four quadrant: teenagers, adults, and older adults. And you're not going to hit it with a dark film. So they may have to go in there and add a little bit of this, a little bit of that, and not screw up the whole tone. The other issue, I think, is because the trailer looked good, but again, it's only a 2-minute trailer. About Godzilla, the Godzilla parts of Godzilla were great. Everything else was boredom. So is of great things in this movie, but maybe some of the talking parts are too boring, and maybe they have to go in there and rewrite some of the dialogue so they can move things along a little bit quicker, you know, because we're dealing with here, and we all know how much on the prequels. Optimistic here, but I'm thinking maybe so that's much more of a rip-roaring adventure for, you know, 2/3 of the movie, as opposed to, you know, just the, you know, we all know that the last part of this movie is going to be the entire Death Star break-in. Very few people are going to make it out alive, which is a worry about. But the fact that Disney came out and said that this movie is going to end 10 minutes before episode 4 means that it's no longer just they view when you watch this episode 3 and episode 4, which means they're going to want the tones to be similar. So, you know, I think in a way they are going to renege on what they promised so that it fits better with this. I got really excited by this idea that we were going to have Star Wars films with different tones, you know, that took place in other. But I think Disney, you know, they already made their $4 billion investment back, but I think they really want to make sure that these movies continue to please everybody and doesn't ostracize. Ask kids to go see it if Darth Vader's massacring people, if that is indeed in the film. And after the bomb that was Alice Through the Looking Glass, Disney doesn't want to go through that again. So
right.
Keep my fingers crossed and hope for the best, because I know a lot of people didn't like Force Awakens. I thought it was really well done, really well made. And I just hope Disney continues not to screw it up, because so far, with the exception of Alice Through the Looking Glass, they haven't put a foot wrong yet with Jungle Book and their Marvel films. So we'll see.
Well, and episode 8 is supposed to be much darker than episode 7 as well.
Yeah. Good luck telling Rian Johnson to tone down episode 8.
Yeah.
You know,
are they going to have issues with that? You know,
I can imagine. I mean, George Lucas looks back at The Empire Strikes Back and thinks that movie is a colossal mistake. He says Empire Strikes Back is the worst one in the whole series, which, you know, back in the 80s, a lot of fans thought that too. So don't everybody shake their head at that statement. A lot of people in the 80s, everybody always said Return of the Jedi was the best one. It wasn't until Clerks came out and Kevin Smith called everyone blasphemous that liked Return of the Jedi better. And that's when the shift started happening. Until 94, everybody assumed Empire was like, that one.
Yeah. Well, just put the darker stuff on the Blu-ray, I guess. At least show us what could have been. You know, give us the equivalent to the 3-hour darker version of Batman v Superman for Rogue One on Blu-ray.
You never know.
And they're doing the reshoots for the Suicide Squad for a very similar way, for a very similar reason, because that movie is apparently super dark as well. And people reacted much better to the fun Bohemian Rhapsody trailers for Suicide Squad. So they go, well, crap, we got to make the movie like the trailer. Instead of making the trailer, you know, representative of the movie, we've got to make the movie representative of the trailer that everybody likes. So they've gone in and done all these massive reshoots and
I'm curious.
Yeah,
because we got Suicide Squad and then we have Wonder Woman. if both those films fail to hit, they'll be a shit ton of trouble.
Yes.
Because they're in the middle of Justice League right now.
Yes. If the Suicide Squad flops,
it's not going to flop.
If it doesn't live up to expectations, if they keep doing, and expectations are really high, but if it doesn't,
I will say this, even if it's bad, Suicide Squad will still make more money than Superman versus Batman, or Batman versus Superman, whatever you call it, Dawn of Justice, because Harley Quinn and the Joker are in it. That right there will take it to $800 million. So.
But and somebody raised a very interesting question about their relationship in Suicide Squad, based on the hoopla over the X-Men Apocalypse billboard and it being sexist or misogynist and promoting violence against women.
Right.
How can they depict, because the Joker's relationship with Harley Quinn isn't an overly loving, sensitive, cozy, warm and feely kind of relationship. So are they going to tone that down as well? Are they going to go back and do more reshoots to tone down that relationship? Or, is he, instead of him throwing her into the vat of chemicals that turns her into Harley Quinn, is he going to gently lay her into the vat of chemicals lovingly?
Well, that's what it looks like. Batman v Superman on Blu-ray is going to be rated R. Deadpool made, $1 billion being rated R. Do we think Suicide Squad is going to up the ante and just come out as an R-rated film? Because if it comes out as a PG-13 film, it will be toned down.
Yeah, I'm thinking PG-13. I'm thinking they're making it. They're making a lot more lighter tone. They're going to throw in a lot more one-liners. They're going to, just make it like that trailer. Make it almost like a buddy cop movie, except they're buddy villains doing good stuff. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, you could release the PG-13 fun version, and then you could release the R-rated original cut on Blu-ray later.
Well, I hope they do. I really hope they do. Give us both versions. You know what I mean? Give us, your theatrical toned down version, but then show us what could have been on Blu-ray. This is the original stuff that we shot. It's dark. But you guys don't like dark because you didn't like Batman v Superman. And the reason we didn't like Batman v Superman isn't because it was dark, is because it was a mess. So it has nothing to do with the tone of the movie. At least for me, it was just a mess.
Yeah, the last time this happened, another Ben Affleck film, Daredevil. Daredevil came out as PG-13. A lot of people had lukewarm responses to it. But the director's cut came out on DVD and Blu-ray, and that's rated R, and it's a much better film. They cut out all the nonsense and they put in all the stuff that should have been in there in the first place. And the director's cut is not perfect, but it is a much, much, much better movie than what we got in the theaters. So I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting to see, because I think they're gonna establish a pattern here. I never thought Batman and Superman together in a movie for the first time on Blu-ray would be rated R, but it is.
Yeah, that's true. That's very true. That's very true. Are you, to get back to the topic of Rogue One, are you concerned that Rogue One's not going to be live up to your expectations, or it's not going to be? Will it feel like a neutered movie? Do you think?
I guess we won't really know that until the next trailer comes out this summer. Probably a little, around either Star Wars Celebration or Comic-Con. We're going to get something. And because they haven't made it yet. How can it not be? Especially if it ends 10 minutes before. I don't think it's going to be Darth Vader grabbing the speaker saying, "Okay, take us to ludicrous speed. We got to go get him." I don't. I don't think they're going to end it quite like that. But it's yeah. I hope I hope whatever changes they're making, and again, let's make it very obvious, or tell something that a lot of people talk about. They may do all these reshoots, and then look at the footage and say, nah, we like this better. And so they may just toss it away too. I mean, you know, there's no guarantee they have to use these reshoots either. So
Yeah, that's true. And you know, and Disney's got the money to shoot a lot of stuff and then just be like, "Meh, burn it, throw it away, forget about it."
yeah. Yeah. I just hope they don't. What I'm hearing, and I hope I'm wrong, is that they're trying to add a little too much Han Solo into this movie. And that's something I'm not really getting behind, because as other people have said online, and I agree with this, which is if you have a film that's this close in timeline to episode 4, we shouldn't have another actor playing Han Solo if you're going to watch this in order, because we'll, you know what I mean? That the Han Solo origin movie, whatever they make, it was fine having another actor in it because it was supposed to be pre-episode 4, you know, a few years, you know, a lot later and earlier than that. So if you're going to have a film takes place around the time you can meet Han and Chewie, it's going to be really outrageous to see one actor become Harrison Ford. So in the span of like a week.
Oh, yeah. That would be odd. Let's not even have him in the movie. Let's not have any of those. You know, have Darth Vader in the movie. Maybe have Boba Fett in the movie. You know what I mean?
But Darth Vader Piz makes sense, right? Because he is in charge of the Galactic Empire and invading his base. You know what I mean? So it makes sense to have him there, or the Emperor there, or whatever. Han Solo, he's just chilling out in a bar. Why do we have him there?
Yeah. Because the other you know, one-off Star Wars movie is the Han Solo story. So
right. But I'm more excited about the rumors of Ewan McGregor coming back as Ben Kenobi for a standalone film, and you know, hunting down Darth Maul or something like that. That's also been talked about, and I could get behind that.
See, I would love that. And I think there's so many. Darth Maul was in The Phantom Menace for like 5 minutes, and he is beloved. He's on like the animated series. If they brought him back in a live action film, people would blow their top. He has so many fans out there, myself included.
And that student film, or that fan film that just got put on YouTube, Darth Maul Apprentice, This is Heaven. It's on YouTube. Check it out. It's free if you haven't seen it.
Darth Maul Apprentice. That was awesome. So I mean, if they brought him into the world somehow, into this new series somehow, or they did a film like that, you know,
he's not dead.
He's not dead. Fans would blow their tops. The
second generation Clone Wars cartoon or animated film, the show, is canon. It is canon. So that means Darth Maul is not dead. So,
yeah, that would be awesome. That would be freaking awesome. That'd be awesome. But imagine the movie ends 10 minutes before A New Hope. And the whole what's brutal about it is that Darth Vader is just annihilating this entire Rogue One crew. He kills them all, and that's how you end the movie. And the movie ends with him walking to his little that egg that he sits in where he can take his mask off. You know, he's just annihilated all of them. He's killed them all, and he goes in and he sits down. He
has to.
That's how the movie should end. That's how the movie should end.
Well, it kind of has to, because there's no evidence that any of them made it out alive.
Exactly. But that's how I would end it. When he annihilates all of them at once. He goes to his little egg thing. He takes his helmet off. You see his burned up face, and he just sits there. You know,
smokes a cigarette and becomes Mork from Ork.
Exactly. He's like he sits down, he takes a sip of coffee, and he's like, all in a day's work for the dark side. You know what I mean? So
yeah.
But yeah, that would
Oh yeah,
be.
we could
That'd
talk
be
about Star Wars all night.
we could. I mean, yeah, we could. And again, like we said with episode 8, it's supposed to have that darker tone. You know, Ryan Johnson's not known for making ooey
Did
gooey
you?
cushy kind of movies.
I don't want to get into any potential spoilers here, but did you read about that set report from episode 8 between Ray and Luke?
Which no, I don't think so. Tell me about it.
Okay, all right. I don't even know if this is in the movie. This could be all rumors. I don't think it's rumors, but please plug your ears if you don't want to hear anything. I don't even know the context. I do know that they're on the island where she sees him at the end of Force Awakens, and he's training her. They're doing something, and what the hell is his name? Kylo Ren dispatches his Knights of Ren, his little group that you see in that dream sequence, onto the island, and Rey and Luke are like force throwing them off the island and like having big lightsaber wars on that thing. And people have seen this being shot. I don't know if this is a dream sequence. I don't know if this is an action set piece in the movie, but if that's in the movie, oh, that's what we want to see in episode 8. And, I think, look, Disney needs to realize this. Okay. They that's the thing. Okay. Going back to the Friday the 13th thing, right? All they have to do is release a movie called Star Wars, and it's going to make a lot of money. They don't have to make a good Star Wars movie. If they want to continue to make more and people liking the series, yes, they should put effort into it. Realize that, just putting, go ahead and make it dark or make it light or whatever you do with each one of the films, you're still going to make the money. All right. So you don't have to worry about like toning it down to get the audience. We're going to come. And you know what? And if a Star Wars movie comes out like Rogue One and it's too dark for some kids, well, guess what? 5 years from now, they'll be old enough to see it, and it will be awesome.
Yeah.
We don't have to for everybody at this very second. Star Wars, no matter what, is going to make millions upon billions. 10, 15 years from now, people are going to be buying Rogue One on streaming services or whatever for years. So they don't have to worry about just that opening weekend,
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
So
yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, absolutely agree. Since we've kind of been having some technical issues with this show, why don't we go ahead and let's wrap it up now, and let's do another show in a couple of days.
Okay.
Just devoted to this whole X-Men Apocalypse, Billboard controversy, and what I think it potentially means going forward for female characters in comic book movies and so on and so forth. This whole just crazy controversy. Let's do an entire video or an entire stream just talking about it. Maybe we'll have a couple extra people join us as well to offer their opinions. And since we've had a little bit of technical difficulties tonight, hopefully not too much.
No, it's been better for the last 10 minutes. So.
Okay. So hopefully it's not been too bad. It's not hindered the entire discussion because I think we've had a great discussion talking about Friday the 13th, 2007, Rogue One, Suicide Squad, Fangoria. Let's before we go, let's take a minute and mention that Scream Factory is releasing a 2-disc collector's edition, special edition of John Carpenter's The Thing. And do you have a release date on that, Cameron?
I think it's in the fall sometime.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah. I'm just really excited about it because I just, I have the DVD, the original Universal DVD, but I think we lost Piz here. But I found out that the DVD is non-anamorphic, so that's a bummer. So I got to get this Blu-ray anyway. And I never picked up the original Universal Blu-ray because, they edited the commentary track that Russell and Carpenter did, which is fantastic. And they chopped up the documentary, Terror Takes Form, and made it little pop-up videos, throughout the Blu-ray. So while the transfer I heard is great because the extras have been kind of fiddled with, I never picked it up. So I'm hoping Scream Factory kind of, brings back that original laser disc first DVD package of the thing and puts it all on there and more stuff. Be great to, I mean, I don't know how much more you could add. Maybe they find some of those deleted scenes that we don't have, like the part of Kurt Russell in the hospital at the end. I'd love to see that deleted ending. I'm sure that's kind of like the holy grail for them to find. So hopefully, I mean, either way, I'm gonna have to get it anyway just to get a decent transfer of it.
Yeah. Well, all I heard was Scream Factory, The Thing, 2-disc collector's edition, and I was like, okay, that's a must buy. And if it's 2 discs, definitely there's got to be a lot of extras on it. Hopefully a lot of new extras, and hopefully, like you said, that deleted scene, and they put that making of back together, or they do sort of an updated making of, or at least some updated interviews with Carpenter and Russell and maybe Keith David, and I think that would be really cool.
Yeah, definitely. They've been putting out so many Carpenter films. I'm shocked that they haven't released a Carpenter box set. To put body bags in and Escape from New York and all that.
Don't give Scream Factory any ideas. I'm sure they've already thought of that, and they're just weighing out. They're thinking about the price at this point. Should it be $80?
I think
$100.
The thing about their Halloween box, I know a lot of people complained about it, but that was my main thing. Was I already bought Halloween 2 and Halloween 3 from them, and then it was in the box set.
Right.
So I had to sell those and take the money I got from that to put it towards the box sets.
Well, and in their defense, they did the box set right. Each film has its own Blu-ray. Each film has its own Blu-ray case. It's a real box set. It's not like, you've got 3 movies on one disc and they're in some kind of little sleeve, and it's they at least did it justice.
No, they did it great. In retrospect, I wish the box set had come out first and then the individual releases. That's all.
Yes. And I'm surprised they've not, well, they did. I totally forgot. They did do a standalone Blu-ray of Halloween 6, the producer's cut, which I knew they would.
With no extras, though.
That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So that's fine. Hey, I have no problem, because they gave you the movie and they gave you a voodoo code for it, which is great. But for the people who bought the box set, we got the extras. I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And that, when I first reviewed that box set, when it came out, I said Halloween 6 and Halloween 6, the producer's cut, are the centerpiece of this box set. And that was really cool to me, because the producer's cut was just the most sought after thing for so many years, just red hot on bootlegging circuits. And it was really cool to see that movie and both versions of it get some justice, because I like both versions of that movie, and they really were the centerpiece of that set, I think. So
I totally agree. The other thing I would add to that would be the hour-long documentary they made for H2O.
Yeah,
because that was obviously a new thing. The only thing that bothered me about that was that we didn't get any of the TV deleted scenes for H2O, which there's some good ones, and they weren't included, unfortunately. So
yeah, I agree. They did do some weird stuff. Like they had if I recall correctly, they didn't have a TV version of Halloween, but on one of the extra discs, they had the TV cut scenes just on that disc. Like they weren't cut into the movie, as I recall. It was just the scenes.
No,
seems like.
No, it is. It's on the Halloween 2 bonus disc of the Rob Zombie film. There's the TV version on there. They made new extra put for, because they would have to remaster the whole thing again. They put those on the bonus disc as well. So and then there was the whole debacle of having to do the exchange program for Halloween 4 because the Blu-ray had gotten screwed up, so you had to send away for that and get
Yeah, I remember all that. Yeah.
And then to top it all off, God damn you, Wes, Creepy Kentucky and Uncle Bill got Halloween box set for free.
No, they got it for oh god, I remember that whole thing.
Yeah.
They got it for like $20. They got it for $20. And now
That
when I
website refunded them.
yeah, it was God, what website was it? It was Turner Classic Movies.
Mm,
They were selling it for $20.
yeah,
And it wasn't, when I heard about it, it wasn't like blown up all over Facebook. Like somebody sent me a message like, if you want this for $20, you better hurry up and get it quickly. And I
yeah,
remember, like, just thinking I better, because as soon as this thing hits Facebook, people are going to be ordering 10 of
right,
these at a time, and it's
right.
going to send off red alerts. And I actually ordered it, and it went through, and then I got an email saying, it'd been canceled and blah blah blah. And I was like, damn it. And then, of course, yes, Creepy Kentuckian and Uncle Bill. Next thing I know, they're doing their unboxing. And I was just like, oh, you lucky bastards. You
I have
lucky bastards.
never. I've been watching them and listening to them for years. I had never seen them that in your face, boastful to everybody. It was fantastic. Couldn't happen to nicer people, but they were just like, we got this for free. Because not only did we ask for our money back, they weren't going to send it. We got it, and then they refunded our money too. So,
Yeah, it's crazy. That's insane.
yeah,
That's
but I think it's a wonderful box set. And is it discontinued yet, or is they still making?
I think they're still doing. I think they're still making them.
Okay. Well,
I
you can pick
think
it up
that,
at Best Buy. It's pretty affordable. It's about $100.
yeah, you can get just the regular, not the fancy box set, but like I think there was the 15 disc, which was the big box set, and a 10
Right.
disc smaller set for like $50. You can get those at Walmart for like 40-50 bucks.
Yeah, but those don't have a lot of the extras. So,
Yeah, that's true. Now that Friday the 13th 10 set, that's no longer in production. That thing's on eBay and on Amazon Marketplace for, like, somebody posted a picture of it. They wanted like $400 Canadian for it.
yeah.
So
And they won't even. But Paramount isn't even. They were doing the double disc standalone releases. Where, they were putting was it 7 and 8 together, and 5 and 6 together, and 3 and 4 together. 3 and 4 is, you can't even get that. I mean, it is going for like $150 on Amazon right now. It's insane, and that's the one I needed because the standalone Blu-ray. They thought, well, they're going to release part 4 eventually, and then they did, and then they only released like 5 copies apparently out into the world because no one else got it. Friday the 13th Part 4 is the only one I don't have on Blu-ray. I still have the deluxe DVD of it, but yeah, it's kind of a bummer because they were planning to release all of them as standalones, and then after Part 4, they decided, screw it, and so we got the rest of them just 2 on a disc.
yeah.
So again, Paramount showing no faith, no love for the fans. Crystal Lake Memories, if you bought it directly from them, I think 1428 Films, I think they're called. You got 8-hour documentary, another disc of extras, and then you had like I think like 5 hours of bonus interviews.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
it
like
was
4
just
or
like
5 hours.
yeah, it was like 14 hours long with if you listen to their commentary as well. My God,
Yeah.
I wish Paramount had put that kind of love into it, but they never did. Us as fans have to do it ourselves,
Yeah, that's true.
unfortunately.
That's true. Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and call it a night. And like I said, we will do an entire hangout, an entire live stream, an entire show, just talking about this X-Men Apocalypse billboard controversy. Again, big thanks to everybody who tuned in. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, you guys aren't going to want to miss that because you may think that's just going to be Piz and I just having a nice, pleasant conversation about something that everybody on the internet seems to agree with. I can't wait to talk with Piz about this at a later date.
Yeah. So we hope you guys enjoyed the stream. Hopefully the technical issues weren't too bad that just totally hindered and impeded everything, because we had a really good time hanging out talking about this and that and the other thing. But we will definitely return to talk about just the X-Men Apocalypse billboard controversy. So keep your eyes peeled for that. If you're not following me on social media, absolutely do so. I tried my darndest. I wanted to get 666 likes on my Facebook page because it was 6616, and I reached that milestone. So I'm
Oh,
very
fantastic.
happy. But if you've not liked my Facebook page, do so. There's a link in the description, facebook.com/Pizzal or Twitter @Pizzal to be notified whenever we do these streams again. And if you've not subscribed, definitely do so. Also, check out Cameron's Obnoxious and Anonymous YouTube channel. Subscribe if you haven't.
And if you guys are all on Twitter, send a message out to Rose McGowan and tell her to contact Piz so we can get her on the next discussion.
That would make it very interesting.
We would go
Very
viral, Piz, on that one.
No, there's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. That would go viral. But yeah. Well, thanks for hanging out with me tonight, Cameron.
Of course.
And thanks to everybody who tuned in. Yeah, definitely, man. Always a blast. Always a good time. And
Yeah.
thanks to everybody who tuned in. We appreciate it, and we'll see you very soon. So, guys, have a great night, and we'll see you soon. Peace.